For the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the key areas based on what CSC actually said is that they are looking at academic merit, they are looking at the quality of the study plans, and they are looking at your development impact. So you have to try as much as possible to make sure that these areas they are actually really clear. And for you to be applying in the first place, you've met the minimum academic merits, which is either you have first class or you have second class, or you have second class or lower, then you have a master. So for you to be applying in the first place, you've met the minimum academic requirement. But these are the three areas that they are going to grade your application on: the academic merit, the quality of the study plan, if you are given the funding, how is it going to be important to you? Is it going to be important to your own country? And also the development impact. These are the three things that they are going to grade you for. So now let's go to the academic merit. Now, people talk about publication quite a lot. They are worried that they don't have publication. Personally, I know a number of people that have gotten this scholarship with no publication. And you can see from how they are going to grade the academic merit, it is secondary. It is secondary indicator. So let me touch on the publication first. Now, for your result, basically your transcript, your examination results, they also want to check that and see. But overall, most applicants are going to actually do well when it comes to the primary indicators, because for you to apply in the first place, whether you have first class, you have 2-1, or you have 2-2, but you have a master, so you've already met that in most cases. You've met that requirement in most cases. So regarding academic prize or awards, if you have any, that's fine. You can see they are just primarily secondary indicators. So they want to see that you've met the minimum requirement, which is your examination result, the academic transcript you've provided them. And there's also an aspect. If you have any comment to make, maybe ASU strike, or maybe you have an health condition when you're in the university and you want to comment on that, I think there's a portion of the application where you can actually lay emphasis on that. So, but this is a primary indicator that most people are actually going to meet. So a lot of people have first class, a lot of people have 2-1. So now, what is the quality? The quality of study plan. This I'm still going to go in detail to discuss each of the questions, but I just want to give you an overview of the areas that they are looking, the three areas they are going to grade you on. So they mentioned that the statement of what the candidate wants to learn and how to relate to their objectives. If this thing is not clear in your application, then of course you know that there's a problem. So it has to be clear what are your own objectives. And something about Commonwealth Scholarship, I've laid emphasis on this in different videos. It's not really about you. Always remember that. And if you just keep talking about how you're going to develop yourself, you are not a candidate for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. These are not the kind of people they are looking out for. They are looking at problem solve. They are looking for problem solver. People that want to make impact in their community, that want to invest in their own capacity so that they can actually solve problems. That's what they are interested in. They are not interested in you just getting the funding and you just learning all sorts of things. They are also checking whether Commonwealth Scholar, whether you as an applicant, you have a problem that you want to solve. So they want to be sure that you have an holistic overview of what exactly you want to get from the program as well, and how it's going to contribute to your growth. And they put it under secondary indicator. And please don't be worried about this. The fact that you don't have any offer or like in any school, that's not important now. What is important basically is that you've applied to the school and you've applied to the Commonwealth Scholarship. At the end of the day, well, that's what is important. So that's why they put that secondary indicator. But if you have it, it's okay. But by the time they're going to do nomination next year, most of you will have known just whether you have the offer from the university or not. So this is not something that you should be worried about. That, oh, I don't have offer. Then that means that you are not disqualified. When I apply, I don't have any offer at all from any school. But by the time they're going to do nomination next year, most schools you will have from January, from February, you will have know your whether you have the offer from the school or not. Of course, clarity of presentation. Is it clear? They don't want you to start telling them so many technical things, because sometimes the person that will review your application in the university is not someone from that department or someone that understands jargons in your feed. So you have to make sure that you are able to explain clearly what the program is all about and different aspects of the application as well. So clarity is also very, very important. So the development impact essays. This is actually very, very key to you being selected. It is very, very key. And from the primary indicator, what they are looking out for from their own end is that the extent of the need, how the plan of the study or research, like, like I said earlier, are you able to show that you've identified a problem that is actually important, an important problem that you want to solve in your community, in your country. Yeah, that's one of the key things. So they want to be able to pick that out. If you want to focus on AMR, is it clear? If you want to focus on solving problem of flooding, if you want to solve the problem of HIV/AIDS, is it really clear from your application? They want to be able to pick. If they just open your application and they start reading your essay, they want to know. They don't want to go through any stress of actually thinking. They don't want to think. They want to see it in your application that, see, this person wants to solve this particular problem, and he or she has been able to demonstrate that this problem is important to their own country, the way that they have a lot of problem, maybe flooding, or there is conflict for people that are doing MSc, maybe in conflict management or those kind of things. So you have to be able to show them that your course is linked to solving a problem in your community. And of course, are you able to show people that will benefit? Remember, this scholarship, you have to go back to your essay and look at it. Are you focusing too much on yourself? You have to ask yourself that question. It's not just about you. It's also about you making impact. So are you able to demonstrate the time frame and people that will benefit from your knowledge and skills, the capacity that you're going to build? So you have to be people centric, you have to be country centric at the same time. You have to be able to show how you want to make impact, and at the same time, how this funding is going to be useful to your home country. That's why we have different countries under Commonwealth shared, and that means that they want you to be able to make impact in your home country. Please go back to your essay and look at that, and we'll be able to show that clearly. That, see, this is the problem I want to solve. These are the people that will benefit from my knowledge and skills, and at the same time, the impact that is going to make in my country. So they also want to see the way and extent to which the candidate proposes to apply new skills. Yes, they want to see that. It's very, very important. So the secondary indicators reference to national development priority or capacity shortage. If you've like watched the video that I made for my own essays, I actually look at this thing before I started writing, because it's not just about me, it's about what they are going to grade on. Maybe I'm just thinking, maybe when they want to grade, possibly they will have this thing beside them and try to score you based on different points and how you're able to answer them. So that's why they make it open, that, see, this is what they are grading you on. But sometimes people will not check them, or might not pay close attention to those key details. So you have to be able to show again that, okay, what possible impact or what capacity shortage are you feeling? For instance, if you want to do MSc in maybe drug chemistry, for instance, are you able to show to us why you think um, it might not actually be in maybe the other aspect of your essay, but in your developmental essays, they should be able to pick quite a lot of things from it. So that's one of the most important aspects of your application. So they want to see whether you are able to reflect and you've thought about what you are writing in the first place. For instance, if you want to do MSc in drug chemistry, maybe you notice that maybe in Africa or maybe in your country, we have limited hands when it comes to drug development, and you think you want to solve that problem. Fine, perfect. And you're able to show that. So you're able to show that there's key gap in that area. And there's always key gap. There's always something that needs to be done very well. But it's always about how you put forward the essay, how you put forward your argument. It is very, very important. Do you reference the selected CSC team? Most people don't do this. They just write beautifully. But are you able to link it back to to be one of the six developmental team where you're applying to? For instance, I'm applying to Earth System, I think Earth System Strengthening. It should show in my application how, if they invest in me, how it's going to bounce back to fall under the CSC team. So it's very, very important that you're able to show that. So for some people, it's science and technology. You already know CSC team. By this time, you should know what they mean by CSC team. They have six. And if you apply to any program, they actually fall on one of them, like they fall under one of them, are you able to show reference back to how that, you just write, okay, they already know now, I'm applying to a system strengthening. Are you able to show the connection? It's also going to score you some points as well. Are you able to show the connection between your course and the problem that you want to solve and the CSE area of focus, the CSE team? It's very, very important. The extent of the benefit, how the impact of your work might be measured, is very, very important that you show that. I'm still going to talk about that later. The past demonstrable commitment to development agenda. This is the global goals and what you have been doing, maybe through your volunteering experience, where you volunteered in the past. Maybe you've carried out awareness. There's a way you write all these things that you've done. Not that you're exaggerating, but of course, for you to do community service, you're already making impact. You might not see it that way. That's why most of the time we tend to downplay some of the things that we've done. Let's say, for instance, we join maybe on World AIDS Day. You participated in maybe in designing awareness program. But sometimes I think, okay, this thing is small now. I just helped them to design. I just helped them. I was involved in the committee, and you will not write about it because you think it's not important. This is actually important because now you are solving a major problem. Because one of the goals, one of the SDGs, is actually to promote good health and well-being. SDG 3. You are able to, you can link it to that, okay, I've been doing this, I've done this particular awareness, I've done this. If your area of focus is HIV, for instance, just using that as an example, you're able to show the key things that you've done. You're able to quantify it. How many people do you reach? Did you reach through that awareness? What impact did you make? What do you contribute to the success of that event? You have to be able to show that in your application when you're writing all these volunteering roles and things. I'll still go back to that and explain in details what are the key things they are looking for. Leading. They want to see leaders. They want to see that you're a potential leader. They want to see what you've done. They want to see that you've all this scholarship too. They also want to farms you. It's not just about you getting the form. They just want to bring good people on board into what they have been doing. So you have to be able to show that, see, I'm a potential leader. I've been doing this, I've been doing that. That should show your application. And how it's going to show, at the end of the day, it might not be in one place, but it will show somewhere that this person has shown a demonstrable or has demonstrated a good, has an ability to lead a project to completion. It is very, very important that you show that. So now I will start with the way the form is. Please don't make mistake in your email address, and don't make mistake in the email address of your recommender. Check your name, check all your details that they are correct when you are filling that. I know it's quite a lot of essays, and sometimes you just make mistake. For some people, they are applying to 10 schools, some are applying to 15 schools, some are applying to 5 schools. Please make sure that you review each of this section carefully. In fact, you can, when you want to apply or when you want to fill the form, maybe you can ask someone to also look at it before you click on submit, that everything is okay, everything is perfect. Please try to check everything and make sure it is okay. Another thing is your qualification. Make sure that you put everything. Sometimes people get confused with the academic grade. Sometimes for me now, I was also confused because my course, like pharmacy, is generally declassified, but I finished with first class. So there's no first class like that on the application. So I just put distinction there, and that's fine, because if they check my result, they were going to see all the other details. But if you are confused, please try to maybe reflect more on it and please select the right thing. Someone made a mistake, and that person actually finished well and she chose pass. I don't know whether that's affected our application. So please make sure that you actually choose the right thing in this particular aspect of your application. It's very, very important. And publication and prize, like I said, they're not important. If you have it, fine. I know a number of people that don't have any publication and maybe they've not won any major prize, and they got the scholarship at the end of the day. So what this thing means basically is that you have to be able to show clearly. Someone is laughing. Isaac is laughing. I know why he's laughing, because let's just leave that. Please don't make mistake in your email address. It's very, very important. Let me re-emphasize that. Because your application can be beautiful, and at the end of the day, if they are unable to reach you, that's a problem. And for people, let me go back to this. For people that have submitted their application, by now you should have an application ID. For people that are applying to Oxford, Cambridge, you should have application ID right now. If you apply to maybe some schools that they have their deadline, maybe last week, you should have your application ID now. When you submit your application, please look at that ID and put it on your application. You know, there's a place where they ask for whether you have your application ID or something like that. This, put it there so that it will be easy for them to link your application. Because once you submit your application, and what will happen is that CSC will send it to the university. So, and they will link it with your application. Okay, this person have submitted, they've submitted their application. They will link everything together, and yet, so you make it easy for them. But if you don't, if you don't have any, if you've not submitted your application, it's also fine. There's also going to be a way for them to link your application back because they understand how this thing works. Don't worry, don't stress yourself too much. That's why they put it there that if you know it, they didn't say that they didn't put it that they must that you should put your application ID there. If you know your application ID, put it for the school that you're applying to. But if you don't know it, leave it. But for people that have submitted their application, please put it in your application, put it there. So that it will be easy for them to link it. But if you don't have it, don't worry. Regarding publication and prices, so not important, but if you have it, good. And like I said, what is also very, very important again is you have to identify your own area of strength. Some people, their own area of strength is that they are the BGS, they are the best graduate students. So they want to really show that in their application, not to overstate it, but they have to be able to show that, see, I have this ability. So you have to look out for your own strength and be able to show that clearly in your application. So for the employment history, really, employment history basically just means where you've worked before. I know some people maybe they don't have any formal work experience because they're just out of school. But do you have any have you engaged in any work or any role that you can put as a form of employment, maybe for maybe 1 year or 2 years, even if you are volunteering in that role, even if they are not paying you, but of course you have some connection with them and you've worked with them, you've engaged with them. You can describe what you've done. Describe what you've done clearly. What are the things that you've done when you're on the like when you are doing that particular thing? What are the impact that you've made? You're able to describe it clearly. So it's not about having a formal role that okay, you are going to office or you work for um, a number of years. So just look at something that okay, I've done this thing before. During my NYSC, I work in this particular place. Doing my internship, I work in this particular place. I can write about it, what I've done in that capacity. I am able to show it clearly in the application. So it's not about don't start thinking too much that okay, it has to be one big role that you've no, just things that you've done where you've worked in a formal capacity or where you've engaged, even if you are not being paid, it's still fine. So now please pay close attention to this again, the references. Please ask someone that you can always reach out to. Please don't go and get references. Don't go and put email address of someone that you cannot talk to or someone that you cannot reach easily. Because when you get the offer or when when you're nominated, they will send email to you and the recommender, yeah, or they will send email to you and ask you to tell the recommender to upload their letter. And that will be next year, maybe around April. So please put someone that you can reach out to, not someone that maybe you are doing your NYSC in let's say Kaduna and you're going to pass out let's say next month and you're not be able to read that person. Please don't do that. And also cross-check their email address and make sure that if possible, use their formal email. Put the formal email there and also ask them before you put anything. Don't just go online and search Mr. Wodekoko and just copy their email address on Google or so and without telling the person. Please make sure that they approve that email address. And if they don't have the formal email address or something, when they are uploading their letter next year into the portal or when they are sending the letter next year, that person needs to be able to show to them clearly that, see, they're able to use a letterhead or something. They're able to use letterhead to write the letter or, when they ask you. And yeah, I think that's what is important regarding references. Now, let's go to the developmental essays, like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. The development impact essay is actually very, very important. Please, you need to sit down again and look at it, whether you have been able to answer and you're able to address some of the things I'm going to be mentioning now. So regarding the part 1, I will have to go over it again. Part 1, you have to be able to show clearly which problem you are trying to solve. It is very, very important. Are you solving a particular problem? Which problem is that? It has to be very, very clear. So they don't have to think too much to pick it out from your application that, oh, this person wants to solve problem on AML, or this person wants to solve problem on research capability, or this person wants to solve a problem regarding cancer. They have to be able to pick that out easily from your part one. And you also have to be able to show numbers. Don't just say, oh, okay, I want to, this is what I want to solve. How will I know that this is a problem? You have to quantify it. You have to show some stats. You have to show uh, some key information that show that this indeed is, this particular thing is a problem. For instance, if you want to solve problem of maybe research capacity regarding population health, you can talk about the fact that Africa actually contributes less than 1%, or Nigeria contribute limited research in this particular area, and you want to solve it. You give particular statistics, percentage, figure, absolute numbers. Look at WHO website, look at different sources. Just tell, don't bore them with numbers. That's another thing. Don't bore them with numbers. Just two key statistics that are just very, very important, or one is important. Just be just travel as possible to quantify the problem. Quantifying the problem is important, and you show clearly how this problem is actually important. Another thing that people miss out in this part is that you don't link it back to the CSE team. You have to be able to show that, oh, okay, this problem, blah, 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 blah. Everything that link back to, okay, maybe S system strengthening, or science and technology, or, the 6 CSE team. There are 6 in number. So you have to be able to look for a way to mention it briefly, if possible. But it's good to mention it. That how everything, how this problem, the cause, and the whole CSE thing actually link back. And it's also be good if you can also link it back to the SDGs that you've mentioned earlier. There's a part that we ask you to mention, maybe I think 3 SDGs that you want, that the thing that you want to do actually focus on. So you have to be able to tie it back that maybe it's SDG 3 or SDG 10, SDG something. You have to be able to show it clearly in your application how everything actually tie back to the SDGs. It is very, very important that you show that. Show statistics, quantify the problem. If you've quantified the problem, go back to link it back to the CSE team, and also look for a way to also tie or put some points regarding the SDGs that you're solving. And in fact, the problem needs to be relevant. At least you're able to show that through numbers. That, okay, see, this social number of years, flooding has killed this social number of people, and maybe this MSc is going to do this, do that, and help me to build capacity to solve this problem. It has to show. Remember, again, the problem that you want to solve needs to be clear. You have to quantify it clearly. Quantify it, show numbers, show figures from the Ministry of Health, from WHO, from UNICEF. Don't bore them with too much statistics. That's not what they want. They just want to be able to quantify, maybe using one stat, or maybe use one statistics to quantify the problem. And also make sure that you're able to show how it linked back to the selected CSE team. Maybe in your own case, it's science and technology. Maybe in your own case, is health system strategy. You're able to mention that. And at the same time, if possible, also mention the key SDGs, the key global goals, sustainable development goals that your application actually touch on. It is important. So describe how, you can see from that, you're able to show that it's not just about you, it's also about the problem that you want to solve. So describe how you intend to apply your new skills once the scholarship ends. Remember, they are funding you because they see you as a problem solver. They want you to be able to solve a major problem in your community. They want you to be able to make impact in your community. That's what they are interested in. So you have to be able to show clearly how you want to apply that skill. Is it that you are going to organize workshops to train more people? Is it that you are going to set up an organization? Is it that you are going to do more trainings, or you are going to change the way they do things, maybe in let's say you are interested in laboratory work, maybe you want to change the approach by learning new skills from the UK that will make more impact in your home country? Is it that you want to maybe develop something that maybe people have not developed before? You want to make impact in that area by developing new things? Is that what do you really want to do? How do you want to apply it? There's no fixed way of doing this thing. It's just about you and how you're able to communicate that thing clearly to them. So there's no fixed template that, oh, see, this is the best template in the world. And that's how you have to. No, you just have to be able to tell your own story, what you want to do, the impact that you want to make, and you're able to show that clearly in your application. So how do you want to apply the new skills. So think about it. Is that you want to set up a training, you are going to set up an organization, or you want to improve the way your organization actually, maybe you are based somewhere before, and you want to improve the way they do things. Maybe you have been working in that area before and you want to build by on needs by having an advanced skills with masters in the UK. Is that you want to change the processes? So you have to reflect, think about it, and be able to pen that down clearly. So outline the changes you expect in development terms following the scholarship, including the outcome you aim to achieve, the time frame of the implementation, and who the uh, beneficiaries will be. One of the things about Commonwealth essay is that it looks like you are repeating yourself. Really, I think the reason why they actually make the essay to look like that is because they want to be sure that you know what you actually want. Some people they will have been discussing something from the beginning, but once they see another aspect, they will now move to another thing. That means you lack focus in your application. You are unable to communicate clearly and stay with it with the kind of problem that you want to solve in your community. So they want to see that in your application, that you're not just moving around. From here, you move to cancer. From cancer, you will move to another thing. You move to another problem that is different entirely from what you set out to do. So you have to be able to show clearly, and you have to be able to build on what you have been writing before. So now they ask you, how do you intend to apply your new skills once the scholarship ends? And they also ask you again that outline the changes you expect in development terms following the scholarship, include the outcome you aim to achieve, the time frame. Now, this is an opportunity for you now to talk more in detail again about the skills that you've acquired, maybe from the UK, from the schools in the UK, and how you want to actually use it to make impact after your scholarship. So it looks like you are repeating yourself, but this is an opportunity for you to also expand on it more and talk about people that will benefit from it, the time frame for the implementation. Do you have a particular percentage or number of people that you want to reach? So you talk about it in this aspect of the essay. So at the end of the day, this part of the essay needs to be able to show to them that, see, this person is focused, you know what you want to solve, the problem that you want to solve, you know the time frame, and you know the people that will benefit from your work. For some people, if they're applying to maybe MSc in refugee, you have to be able to quantify that, okay, this impact, the impact of my work will actually show on maybe the refugee in Nigeria. Maybe you want to solve problem regarding AMR. You want to be able to show that, okay, maybe more awareness will be done. You have to be able to show what are the key people that will benefit. They should be able to pick that out from your application. That, see, these are the people that will benefit from this guy's skills, from this guy's knowledge, and you have to be realistic. It's very, very important for you to be realistic. Don't just say things that you know that this thing is not possible. You yourself, you know that, this thing is not possible. And they will just laugh when they read that, who is this one? What is this person writing? So you also have to think carefully what you can actually achieve within the time frame, um, and who are the people that will benefit from your knowledge and skills. So part 4, discuss how the impact of your work would be best measured and evidence. Is it through publication? Is it through maybe more outreach? Is it through you contributing to more capacity building? Is it you reaching out to more people through your organization that you want to set up? Is it that you want to contribute to more capacity building of more people in a particular area? So discuss how the impact of your work? Is it through publication? Do you want to publish? Do you want to reach more people? And how we are going to be able to see that, okay, this number of people, you've reached them. How do you want to show that? How do you want to quantify that? Is it that you are going to publish reports annually? Is it that you are going to have keep track of the data that you've collected from the feed? Is it that you are going to make sure that more people are engaged, and you're going to measure maybe what happens in the national impact? For instance, maybe you notice downtrend in maybe smoking rate or HIV rate, depending on what you're writing, what you're focusing on. Are you going to measure it or benchmark your impact based on the national statistics? So you have to look for a way to be able to show clearly how the impact of your work will be best measured and evidenced. How are we going to see that, okay, you're actually making impact, you're actually doing things? So they want you to show that clearly in your application. So you have to ask yourself this question: have you been able to show that? Have you been able to show that indeed this is this a major problem from the part 1? You're able to show the new skills and how you want to apply them. And part three, you focus, you expand more on your new skills, people that will benefit from it. And part four, how are we going to measure it? How are we going to know that, oh, indeed you are actually doing the right thing? You are making that impact that you set out to make. So you have to ask yourself these questions so that you can be able to reflect more. So another part of the essay is objective during the award. So this part is also very, very important. So some people can write it if you are bookish, you like only book, you can focus on book, it's fine. There's no template. So some people say, okay, they focus on book. Of course, it's important that you also mention that you won't say that you want to get the Commonwealth Scholarship to go and be looking at you've not entered train before. And you believe that, okay, when you get to the UK, you'll be able to enter train for the first time. No, that cannot be your primary reason. So you have to start with bookish thing that, oh, see, I want to build this particular capacity. I want to learn this particular thing. I want to know how to do this thing in my field so that it will be useful to me in maybe making more impact in the areas that you set out in your developmental essays. So you can show all that. Maybe you can make like 5 or 6 points on that. There's some people can say, okay, maybe they want to explore the city of London. If their school is based in London, that's also fine. It's not a must that is always about to be always about book. For me, I just check my application because when I check other people's application, you know, I said I also check other past winners' essays. I ask them to send it to me so that I can look at key things from their essays. Some of them actually mentioned that they want to explore the city, but for me, my own essay actually focus on book, like the things I want to learn, the things that capacity I want to build. Those are things that I focus, and of course, that is fine at the end of the day. But some people they also mention, but what is common across board is that they all mention that they want to learn this particular thing during their, uh, like when they are in the UK, they want to learn these particular skills on their course. A lot of them lay emphasis on that, but some of them also mention that, see, I also want to explore the city. I want to visit this particular place and learn more about the culture. No, that's also fine. But for me, I focus mainly on academics. I highlighted everything that I want to build capacity on, the skills I want to learn, and those are my own objectives. So your own objective might be a bit different, but make sure that it's also academic in a way, so that because you cannot be in the UK just because you want to visit London or you want to explore London. No, that's a red flag. You should not put that in your application. So, but you can talk about other things. Then you can mention maybe one point like, okay, you want to explore the city or you want to do other things. So it's also good. But for me, I focus solely, mainly on my academic objectives. So, career plan 5 years following the award. So this is also very, very important because you have to show to them that you've already thought about what you want to do. And it's always good that you use milestones. For instance, you can say by 2020 something, maybe you'll have reached more people based on, for instance, based on what you set out to do. Maybe by 2025 or 2026, maybe you've started your PhD or you'll have expanded your organization. So they want you to show, but use years to actually explain this. You can say maybe you can use like different milestones. Maybe your last milestone might be 2030. Maybe by 2030 you should have completed your PhD or you'll have started something. Yeah, just have to be able to show with years, and it should fall within that 5 years um, milestones after your um, yeah after your MSc in the UK. So another thing, this one you have to be ambitious. You have to be able to show something remarkable, something that is that's interesting. When, for instance, you want to become the Minister of Health, the Minister of Health, or you want to become the head of NCDC, or you want to become the director of WHO, this is an opportunity for you to be able to actually show that, see, I have big ambitions. I have big things I want to achieve. So you just have to think about that. What exactly do you want to achieve in the long? Do you want to become a professor? Do you want to become a scientist doing research, doing amazing work? Do you want to become an epidemiologist? Do you want to become a cancer researcher that will be leading major research, um, like in the UK, maybe in across Africa, in your own country? You have to show that in your application. So this part is an opportunity for you to flex that. Oh, flex your muscle. That, see, I'm ambitious, and these are the things I set out to achieve. Maybe one day you want to become the president of your country so that you can make more policy for people maybe in other field that has to do with maybe leadership. I'm just saying, just this is an opportunity for you to be ambitious and for you to demonstrate clearly those ambitions that you have. So even if you think that maybe they are not achievable, just put something that is wild, that shows that, oh, this person actually knows what they are doing, and at the same time they've already thought about their long-term career plans. Um, and again, if possible, you can always link it back to the passion for the problem that you set out, that you said you want to solve. For instance, maybe there is a system problem. You believe that air system structure needs to be changed, and you believe that maybe in the long term you are going to consider to become, you are considering to become maybe the commissioner of health in your state, so that you can solve this particular problem. You can tie it back to the problem that you set out to do. For instance, if the problem that you want to solve is antimicrobial resistance, you want to solve the problem of AMR in your country. Maybe one day you can just put it that you want to become a scientist that will be leading major research to curb or make impact in the field of in the areas of antimicrobial resistance. So they just want to see that ambition. And in your application, please ask yourself that question: Have I be able to show clearly my the long-term career plan? For me, and you have to make it powerful, sound powerful. For instance, for me, I remember I put something like, okay, I want to in the long term, maybe probably I want to become a global health scientist, leading impactful research that will improve the quality and quantity of life of people in Nigeria and beyond. You have to put powerful statement that show that this person is actually convinced of the impact that they want to make. So it's very, very important that you lay emphasis on that. So the detailed plan of study. This is not an opportunity for you to start saying things that this school is the best university in the world, all this kind of thing. This is not where you actually need. You don't need anything like that in your application. In fact, if you want to see anything like that, remember I always mention it. Please tie it back, because I was a member of the MSc organizing committee at Oxford, and one of the things that they mentioned, because there was a meeting we had, and they mentioned that most people that apply to Oxford, some of them that apply to the NDPH department, Novi Department of Population Health for their MSc, they lay emphasis on the fact that they want to come to Oxford because Oxford is the best. Most of the time, they don't like to hear that. So those are the things that they actually mention, because they are trying to map out different schools and whether they have different countries and whether they have application from there. So they map out that some of the countries where they actually have application, the application is substandard, because most of them want to come to Oxford because Oxford is the best. So they don't really want to hear that. What they want to hear basically is that, have you been able to tie it to that course? Why that course? Why that program? Why that university is actually the best for you? Is that they have the best laboratory? Is that they have the best scientists? Those are the good things that you can tie it back to. Or maybe they've done one meaningful research that you really like. You can mention it. So that course too, you can also mention one thing in that program, so that it will show that this person, you've read the course page and you know what the program is going to give to you. And again, you are also able to show how this program is actually relevant to what you're applying for. For instance, if you're applying to, let's say, a particular program and you're mentioning things that you won't get from that program, it might be possible that you will not scale through, because maybe someone from the department actually review your application and be wondering, we're not going to teach you all these things. How is it going to be useful to you to be able to solve this particular problem? So you have to look at the course page, look at how you can actually nail things and bring things together. So they don't want to say something like, okay, it's the best. No, okay, it's the best, right? Use your department, use where you will study, use the program where that department, use it as a benchmark. That, oh, see, this department, they've led quite a lot of research. They are leading different research across the world. They're actually making impact. And you look forward to learning from the professors, from the researchers, from the lecturers, from the scientists from that department. So no, that makes sense. Quite than saying, okay, because the university is the best. That means that that's superficial, because they will see that, okay, you've not actually thought through, um, you've not reflected on why you want to study in their university. So use the course, use the program to as a benchmark, and if possible, not if possible, it is important that you're able to show maybe one course or one program or one topic or one useful thing that will be useful to the problem that you want to solve. You're able to point that out in your application. It is very, very important. For instance, if in the program you're going to learn you're going to learn, let's say, quantitative analysis, or you're going to learn implementation science, or you're going to learn epidemiology, or you're going to learn a particular thing. So you have to be able to show clearly that, see, this is that I'm going to learn is going to actually help me to build capacity and improve my knowledge and skills so that I can contribute and make impact to solve the problem that I've identified initially. That kind of thing. So it is very, very important why you have chosen the proposed course and the university, and why you want to undertake the study in the UK. What is it that you are looking for? Yeah, in the UK too, you have to talk about why UK is actually for you. For instance, even if you've talked about the university, you've talked about the proposed course, you're already talking about the UK because the school is in the UK. So, or if you have any specific thing why you think that program is actually best for you in the UK, you can also talk about it. So, what is it that you are looking for in a course, and how your chosen course relates to your objective? You see, you have to make sure that you tie it back again to why it's going to actually help you to achieve your objective. For instance, it has to all make sense because everything is connected. If you mention something initially, you also want to see here how those skills that you're going to bring from that, the skills and knowledge that you're going to get from the program, how they actually relate to the objective that you set out to do, the problem that you want to solve in your country. Any dissertation topic in mind, even if you don't have any thesis topic in mind, come up with something that relates to the problem that you want to solve, or that relates to, yeah, that's best. That's the best thing that you can do. Try to show a topic or an area that you want to focus on in your dissertation. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to do at the end of the day. For me, I mentioned something, but that's not what I did uh, when I got the scholarship. So you just want to see that you are thinking, and you actually know what you want. So just think of possible topic and your area of interest in the area that you've identified, that where you want to solve problems. Just show clearly the dissertation topic that you have in mind. Yeah, come up with something. Come up with something. Maybe you want to assess the health systems in your country. Just look at a research topic, go on Google Scholar, type possible keywords. For instance, if you're interested in HIV, you can go on Google Scholar, type HIV mental health. You're going to see a lot of things that will come up. From there, you can come up with an idea of possible topic that you want to work on. As simple as that. So just come up with something tentative. It doesn't have to be something permanent. It's just basically something that you want to actually show to them pending in time. So, and how the course is going to actually equip you with the skills and knowledge to do the research as well. So, yeah, that's important. So, for the personal statement, so provide a personal statement to summarize the ways in which uh, their personal background has encouraged them to want to make an impact in their own country. Applicants may wish to highlight any areas where they have already made significant contribution, including overcoming personal or community barriers in accessing higher education or within their field. So their own personal statement, they've already made it clear. They made it clear what they want. They want you to state clearly how your background, how everything that you've done in the past, how everything now leads to the fact that you need this MSc and you want to solve this particular problem. It's as simple as that. So I don't know how the story will come. I don't know how you want to make the explanation. You can come from different angle depending on your own personal experience, and you cannot bring everything. For instance, if someone is applying to maybe MSc in education, or maybe MSc something in mental health, maybe you notice that in your country over the time people have mental health crises, but nothing is being done, and you even have personal experience with that. Maybe a friend or maybe a family member have experienced that particular thing, and you are making it you are bringing it home to the fact that okay, this is a major problem, and it's actually happening. And at the same time, you link it back to the problem that you set out to solve initially, which is on mental health, and you talk about how that course, how that program is actually the best for you. Again, but don't lay emphasis on it too much. Just talk briefly about okay, you've linked it, and the skills I'm going to get from this program is going to be useful for me to help me in building this particular capacity that will make me solve this particular problem in my country. Simple. So they just want you to be able to reflect on what everything that you've done before, your background, your experiences, uh, yeah, anything, anyhow, any way, but you have to be able to link back to the fact that the problem that you want to solve is important, the impact that you want to make is important, and you are linking it back to how that cost. Mention it briefly. This is not the time to leave us on the cost too much, but mention it briefly that how this actually relates to the skills and knowledge that you're going to build in the university in the UK. Then you also tie it back to uh um a sentence that cap everything, or that see this program is actually very, very important to you. This scholarship is important for you to be able to achieve your dreams or your goals of making or solving this problem that you've identified in your developmental essays in your country. So remember, like I said, it looks like you are repeating a lot of things, but also be very careful to make sure that you streamline things and you are focused. So this part, you want to hear your story, and how that story actually build you to contribute to your capacity, and at the same time why you think this MSc, this is the right time for you to learn more about this thing so that you can solve problem at a larger scale. Remember, in your application they want to see that you are country centric, you are people centric, you want to solve problems. It's not just about you. You've identified a problem or a problem solver. You want to be able to see that in your application. It is very, very important. um where you volunteer in the past. So this in this place, you have to, in this part of the application, you have to be very careful. You know, some people they just say, okay, I participated in the awareness. No, that's the wrong way of writing things. If you participated, what is your role? What is your own contribution? So you have to be able to give a good, it can be in one, maybe one sentence or two sentences about a particular point, but make sure that it is clear what your contribution are, the possible impact, the number of people that you reach. So don't just say, I was involved in organizing a program in my university. Which program? What's it about? How many people do you reach? Which impact do you make? Is your contribution showing clearly? It's very, very important that you show that in your application. It is very, very important. Don't just say things that are not really clear. Okay, you've done the awareness. What's the point? What's your role there? Do you have any major contribution? So what are your contribution? Which impact do you make? And of course, how many people do you reach? If it's so, they want to see that you are actually involved and you demonstrate. In fact, you can you can see that they are together. They volunteer, whether you volunteer in the past and your leadership role, they're actually together. And what that means is that, you know, when you volunteer, you can also show some leadership experience with it. For me, I didn't really separate it. I just write everything together, but I make sure that I touch on where I volunteer, and at the same time, what are my own impact, what are my own contribution, what impact do you make with that thing that I've done. So don't just say things um, that if you've won an award, maybe from the work, mention it. So there's no really fixed way of doing this thing. There's no fixed or okay, this is a template. No, there's no template. It depends on how you want to communicate things that you've done. But what is important is that you are not vague. Being vague is not going to help, because if you're just saying things and they are unable to see what your contribution are, you're unable to figure out your leadership potential, then that's a challenge. So they want to be able to show, they want to be able to you to see and reflect on what you've done in the past and your potential leadership on that project, and at the same time, what exactly are the impact that you've made. So they want you to write a concise summary and overview of that particular thing. So it is very, very important that when you are reading this aspect, you focus on that. Don't just mention um, you were involved in setting up this particular organization. Then what for? Which impact? Why is it important? What is your own contribution? Are you able to show that concisely? You can even notice it's about 500 words. Yes. So this is an opportunity for you to actually talk about quite a lot of things. So that shows that they want to see people that have constantly volunteered with organization, or they've led different projects. They want you to be able to communicate that. So they want to assess your leadership potential, and whether you are generally lost in doing service for other people. So they want to see people that like doing things for people and what you've done and the impact that you've made. You have to be able to quantify that, show that clearly in this aspect of your application, so that they will not have to ask you questions like, okay, you've done this, then what's the point? What impact do you make? They want you to show everything clearly. And remember, you don't have that, you have word limits, and you have to be able to make sure that everything is concise, clear, and it's easy for them to follow. So I actually saw this on the website. So I think it was also very okay for us to actually go through it together. They said these are the feedback from the selection panel. So generally, for the academic aspect, I think most applicants, like I said, you are going to meet the minimum requirements for minimum academic requirements is, because for you to apply, you've already checked that and you've met that. So, but what is actually very, very important again is that if you have any maybe academic, maybe you have any issue that you think is important. Maybe you finish with 2-1, or and maybe you want to communicate. It's not important really. 2-1 is not a bad grade. So if you have that kind of instance and maybe you want to comment on it, there's a part of on the application where you can make a case for maybe why you should have finished with the first class, but you didn't finish with the fourth class. But like I finished with the first class, so I didn't really write that aspect. I just leave it blank. I didn't put anything there. And the people that I checked their essays to, most of them didn't really put anything. They didn't. Only one person mentioned about their grades and all. Um, but mm, so it depends. Um, if your application is strong overall, there's no need for you to start because you have to be very careful. So you want to like you are trying to put a point that is not necessary in your application. So, but they actually mentioned that if you want to put it there, you can put it to mention things about um, issues or circumstances that might have affected you. And I know people from many African countries or many countries that are eligible for the scholarship, we actually face quite a lot of things that can actually affect our academic fit or standard or our achievement. But you have to be very careful if you want to write this aspect. So it won't sound like you're trying to make excuse, you know. So, but yeah, you have to word it properly. And if possible, you can leave it. People have won it and they didn't put anything. Personally, I didn't put anything. I know people with 2-1, I didn't put anything. But to make sure that the other aspects of the essay is really clear and they're able to make out, they're able to make it clear what they're going to benefit from from the scholarship and at the same time the impact that they want to make. Remember, it's not just about you. So another thing is it is important for applicants to identify referees who will provide references that are detailed. They even mentioned that a 5-line reference is unlikely to provide the level of support. That's why I mentioned to you that please don't put, don't go and use just anybody. Use someone that knows you, someone that can write detailed letter for you. So they mention it clear that a 5-line reference is unlikely to provide the level of support necessary for your application. Don't forget that. And also, the selection committee places great emphasis on the case made by the applicants for how their proposed work will have an impact on development. Remember, development, but they don't have any standard definition for development. They said that they don't have any standard definition. What they actually want is you are able to explain to them how the problem that you want to solve actually falls under the different aspects of the developmental team. So if you are focusing on earth system strengthening, you have to be able to show how it actually applies to that. And your application needs to be able to show clearly the link between the two. It's very, very important. So they don't want they want brief statement written in development impact session is unlikely to be as convincing as a well-crafted argument that uses the full word count. What it means basically is I know some people they can just write, okay, I want to solve this particular problem just in 2 sentences that they are done. So they also encourage you to make sure that you use the full word count, use it to the fullest, so that they can easily pick out what you're actually trying to do, the impact that you want to make. Please try to reflect more on your impact essays again before you make your submission, and make sure that everything is well crafted and you are able to at least use the word count to some level. Some people they can just put 2 lines or 2 sentences because they have just 150 word. No, you still have to make sure that you're able to explain even with that limited word count, and you don't go above it. It's very, very important. And also, some applicants focus on how a Commonwealth scholarship would help them to become personally successful. I mentioned it that it's not about you. They even mentioned it there again that see, we want to fund you, we want to support you because we want you to make impact in your home country. So it's not just about your own personal success. So they want to see that you have the potential of becoming a leader, of solving problem in your community, and you have been involved in 1 or 2 things. So if you please go through your application again and reflect. Are you focusing too much? Are you focusing too much on what your own personal growth or own personal development? Reflect on that. You have to make sure that you're able to show how this will also benefit your country. It's very, very important. And will benefit your country in terms of the problem that you've identified that you want to solve. There are many ways in which development can be defined. They mention it yet again. So they don't have any particular definition for development. It's basically what you set out to do and whether it falls under the CSC team, they are fine with that. So you have to be able to show that this is actually very, very important and it falls under one of the CSC teams that you set out. But they don't have any clear definition or fixed definition for development. Development can be anything. So far you are solving a problem and you're making impact, they are okay with it. So applicants who are unclear or vague about about what they intend to do. Remember again, don't be vague. Make sure that you are able to show clearly what you want to do, the impact that you want to make, problem that you want to solve. Your application, you also show the impact that you've made in your community before now, what you have been doing, your achievements. This don't be shared. This is an opportunity for you to start uh, downplaying your achievement. This is an opportunity for you to lay emphasis on it, talk about it, and link it to the fact that you also want to make more impact. So don't make things vague or unclear. You know, you have limited words, but I know it can be sometimes tempting to start writing things that are not really clear. So make sure that it is clear and avoid using too many technical languages. Try to break things down for anyone to be able to read your application and understand what you are trying to say. Yeah. For instance, if you are writing on maybe antimicrobial resistance and someone maybe in social science doesn't understand what that means, you can easily mention that okay, it AMR, you can define it when you're writing the problem statement. That AMR not define, like maybe the AMR can be defined as no. There's a way you write things that will show that you are also trying to explain what AMR is and why it is a problem. So it is important that you show maybe some that okay, AMR is a threat to modern medicine and our medication has stopped working or they are no longer effective. You know, that's easy for you to start talking. For some people, they will start talking about maybe the mechanism. No, they don't need that. What they need is that are you able to talk about the problem clearly? Are you able to explain it briefly what that means and the possible implication and why you want to solve the problem in your country? Simple. Don't use unnecessary words that are not clear or that are vague or that people cannot relate with. Because remember, sometimes people that will review your application and not be people from your feed because they will just send the application to the school. And for some university, they don't really send it to your department to review. They will just review centrally within some people. Maybe they are from social science or maybe they are from engineering. You also have to remember that. That's why they actually lay emphasis on you being clear and avoid using unnecessary jargons if you don't make it clear what you are trying to say. So make your application really clear, relatable, and avoid any unnecessary language. So all applicants must explain in some detail why they have applied to the courses. So ask yourself now, if you read your application from the beginning to the end, are you able to show why you applied to that course, to the institution? Is it really clear? Is it easy for people to pick that out? It is insufficient only to say that the university are excellent or even that they are ranked maybe a particular because they maybe for them to put it in the advice for applicants. They've seen a lot of people they do that quite a lot. And personally, for me, I felt maybe probably, but me, I don't actually want to go to that attend my program in Oxford because I really want to learn that thing. And I lay emphasis on that on my application throughout from the beginning to the end. I didn't, for instance, even mention that Oxford is the best. No, I focus on the area that I want to, the problem I want to solve, the skills I want to learn from the program. Those are things that I focused on. I actually later learned about that when we had that meeting, and they mentioned it categorically that people from some countries why they don't get into Oxford is basically because they lay emphasis too much on that. Because Oxford is beautiful, Oxford is this, Oxford is that, and with that they just reject the application. So they don't like saying that. Focus more about that program, how it's going to contribute to your knowledge and skills, how they are going to give you enabling environment for you to grow, for you to become a better person to solve the problem that you set out to solve in your application. That's what they want to see. They even put it there that they don't want. Most of the time, it is not sufficient for you to just say that. So look at your course, look at the program, how is it going to contribute to your knowledge and skills, your capacity, and link it back to the problem that you want to solve in your community or your country. Um, Providing further reasons why these are relevant institutions to support academic plans. Academic plans will strengthen an application. So sometimes some people just do cut and paste. They know this. You just go and cut and paste from your course website that, okay, this course is going to teach you this, and you just copy and paste from the course website. No, don't do that. Please paraphrase. Make sure that you're not just saying, you're not just copying from the website that, okay, this course will teach you this, that, this, that, this, that. No, are you able to reflect exactly what you personally want to pick from that program? They want you to show that clearly. So it is important that you don't do any cut and paste from the course website, from the institution website. They know this. Once they read the application, they will be able to pick that out. And yes. And of course, I need to touch on this. If you are going to use AI for your essays, now schools are, some schools, most schools in the UK, they are indifferent regarding using AI. But if you use AI to write your essay and it's sounding like AI, truly, like it sounds like this person used AI, there's no personal touches, there's no, you don't even make any point of why you want to do that program. Your voice is not showing in the application. Your voice needs to sound true, like, okay, this is what I want to do, and you are bold with it. And you're able to give practical example that this is not just this is not an application that is written by maybe AI. If you use AI to assist you, maybe in refining your ideas, I won't say that's bad, but make sure that you review it and you're able to you make sure that your voice actually sound through your application, and you are not giving fake, because AI is good at giving vague examples or using not giving real or concrete things about you. So you have to make sure that you are not just sounding robotic. You are sounding like you know what you want and what you want to do. Imagine you mention something I look forward to, I'm excited about. Those kind of words will actually help to show that, oh, this person is actually knows what they want and what they want to get from the program. In the long term, I look forward to becoming this and this and this and this that will make this social number of impact. So you're able to show that your voice is sounding true in your application. It is very, very important. If you use AI, maybe good, but make sure that you review your application and everything that is there actually sound meaningful to anyone that is reviewing your application. Not just something that is so vague. There's no practical example, there's no practical insight on what you really want to learn. There's no real world example. For instance, from the course page of the course, where to show that, okay, this is the thing that you want to learn or the things that you want to build your capacity in. It's not really clear, because AI is good at giving you maybe just a response that might be robotic sometimes. So make sure that you review and you are sure that you've tried as much as possible to touch different areas that will make you competitive for this scholarship. It's very, very important. Um, your personal statement is your opportunity to give the selection panel a sense of who you are. Remember that. You reflect on your background and also why you want to be a Commonwealth scholar. You're able to show that. You should summarize the ways in which your personal background has encouraged you to want to make an impact in your own country. For instance, if you are applying to a particular course, make sure that you are able to link some things back, maybe things that happened that actually stimulate your interest. For instance, if you are applying to maybe MSc in maybe civil engineering, for instance, we have a lot of building collapsing in 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 some part of the country. You just want to lay emphasis on that. Okay, see this, see that, and it affects economic activity, and all this experience actually make you wonder what is going on, and you've seen that this is actually due to a structural problem that you want to solve. Then you tell meaningful story of what has happened, your personal experience. You are giving personal touch to your application. Now you are bringing it forward to why this program is for you and why you think becoming a Commonwealth scholar through this funding is going to help you to make more impact to solve that particular problem in your home country. It's very, very important. So the CSE encourages application from candidates who are facing it. So yeah, they also like that. And for instance, you can mention that, okay, despite don't say, okay, because I'm poor that you give me scholarship, or because my father don't have money to pay for my school fees, or I cannot afford it, that's why they should give you the scholarship. No. For instance, there's a logical way that you can use to introduce maybe your socioeconomic background by saying the fact that, okay, despite you coming from this particular background, you have continued to challenge yourself to make impact in your country, your community, and to solve this particular problem. And you've done this, you've done that. That sentence doesn't really say, okay, you said, you mentioned that, okay, you have issue with your maybe your background. Yeah, And but you are not laying emphasis on that. You are laying emphasis on the fact that despite that your socioeconomic background, you have been able to move past that to even make impact in your community to solve problem in that area that you are interested in. Simple. So it's not about the because they mentioned that you maybe you have significant disadvantage, maybe economically, or maybe due to the fact that you cannot maybe attend maybe some programs, or maybe you should have went to private school and you went to maybe a public university. So this is not the time where you start focusing on that really. You can use that as a stepping stone that okay, despite all this, challenges, I've been able to do this and link it back to the problem that you want to solve, link it back to your story and how that makes you a better person and how you think becoming a Commonwealth scholar will even make things more better for you in terms of solving problem in your community. Remember, Commonwealth Shared Scholars, they are problem solver. They want to see people that want to solve problem in their community, that want to make impact. So when you finish your essay, you have to be able to see that, oh, see, I've been able to make this clear. That this is the problem I want to solve. This is the impact I want to make in my community. So it is very, very important that you go through all this so that uh, so that you can make more impact in your community. So make sure that you check this thing through and you reflect on each aspect of your essay. Remember, the key things to bear in mind: you have a problem to solve. Your course is actually important to solve that problem to build your capacity. Um, you've thought through things that you want to get from the program. You're able to explain what are the impact that you've made before, your leadership role, your volunteer experience. You are also able to show to them that, see, I want to solve this problem. This problem is a major thing in my country or internationally, and I've thought through this. It falls under this particular CSE team, and at the same time, I've been able to show that this is actually linked to the SDGs, the global goals. At the end of the day, so everything, all these things need to actually show your application that uh, you are someone that has identified a problem and you want to solve and make that impact. Remember, they clearly mentioned it that they don't want to give the scholarship to someone that is focusing on their own personal growth alone. So you have to be able to show how you are going to make impact. And of course, it's as simple as this. But I understand that um, writing these things sometimes can be can be quite a lot. But I hope with this few like we did recap on what you should focus on and what are the key things that you're looking out for. I hope it is helpful to give you additional insight on how to improve your application. So I think we should go to question and answer now. Maybe you have any particular concern or maybe things that you need clarity on. I hope I'll be able to share more information on that. Well, if I want to review your application, everything I've mentioned is what I'm going to touch on again. Um, yeah, good one. I'm just from Sierra Leone. If I have not published any work here, but I have done dissertation work, can I indicate dissertation even though it is not? Yes, please show um your dissertation. You can put it there. Yes, and you can upload a dissertation to maybe somewhere like ResearchGate. You can mention dissertation topic, but you don't have DOI. You can leave it empty if that's possible. If that's possible. Your dissertation is a form of research, it's a form of project, but if you can upload it on Google Scholar, or you can upload it on ResearchGate, then share the link, put the link of ResearchGate. On ResearchGate, you can generate DOI. There's something called ResearchGate. Create an account on ResearchGate, upload your dissertation, the final copy, then generate DOI from it. Then you can put it there. So you can generate DOI on ResearchGate for stuff like this. So you can put your dissertation. How can I make a strong case when the work I want to do is with an organization I don't have connection with, like it is not my current organization? Yeah, that's possible. Some people want to work with WHO. Some people want to work with NCDC later, and they don't have any affiliation with them. That's fine. So it's not a must that you have any affiliation with those organizations now. You can be ambitious that okay, this kind of organization is doing what I'm interested in, the problem I want to solve. I hope and I look forward to using my knowledge and skills to improve their work or contribute to the work that they are doing. For instance, NCDC is already working on a lot of infectious disease, a lot of responses to outbreaks. So you can just write that, okay, if you build that capacity from your program in the UK, you've learned quite a lot of things. You can now use that skills and knowledge to contribute to their work, the work that they do at NCDC, that they do at WHO, to improve the health outcome and improve the quality and quantity of life of people. Yeah, it's not a must that you have any current affiliation with this organization, that you have um, you can have imagination of working with them later but you have to be able to show that you are able to demonstrate how you are going to be useful to them in improving what they do presently. So thank you very much, everyone. If you've not liked this live session, please like the live session, and also subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. um, Thank you very much, Abda Damilola. Is it okay to state what you have already done to solve the problem you are addressing? Yes, please. You can solve what you are already doing right now. Some people they're interested in mental health and they've been doing a lot of amazing things on mental health. You can mention it, and you will now identify possible gap. That in fact I've been doing this thing before to solve this particular problem, but you think that you need more. You need to build additional capacity. You need to build more skills in that particular area to make more impact, to extend your impact nationally or to more communities in your country. Please, if you have been doing something and you think you want to mention it, please mention it. That shows that this person is actually invested in solving this particular problem before now. Or if you don't, and you want to solve the problem, you want to learn about it, it's also fine. That's why I said there's no fixed way to these essays. It's just about you demonstrating clearly how you are the best applicant, how you are the best person to be given this scholarship. It's as simple as that. So if you have been doing something in the past and you think that this is going to be relevant to make your case, you can talk about it briefly and identify gaps in your knowledge and skills that you think this course, this program is going to help you to fill and to solve this problem at a larger scale in your country or your community. So thank you so much. The question I have is on the undergraduate course option. I saw BFAM, BFAM on. Please does both imply same course with difference of distinction? Like, is this on the Commonwealth website? Ah, well, because most of the time they just pick BFAM ons. That's what I'm going to pick. Yeah, but pharmacy is not graded. But I don't know about your own program. But if you can clarify that more, I'll be able to share more insight on that. But basically, maybe either of them. I don't know what I selected. Maybe I chose B farm alone. I don't know. But I think anyone is okay. Because if they have any doubt at the end of the day, they'll be able to check your transcript and see what you actually finished with. Um, so there's also an aspect where they mention whether you finish with distinction or not. I think that's just if you chose B farm or B farm ons, um, either of them is fine. But just make sure that you show that you finish with distinction, and also you make that clear. Of course, when you upload your transcript, they will also see that. So thank you so much. Please, is there any specific CSE team, specific MSc on AMR, or is it embedded in epidemiology and statistics? Um, I know there is one MSc on One Health. One Health, which One Health is related to AMR because that's one of the key aspects or key approach to solving problem of AMR internationally. So if you're interested in AMR, maybe MSc in One Health is going to help. I know there's one MSc in infectious disease and AMR at the University of Glasgow, but I don't know whether it's under the Commonwealth Shared for this round. So, but of course, if you're interested in AMR, you can also do a program on epidemiology or public health. So it still fall on that. So what's the difference between SDGs and CSE team? CSE team, there are 6 in numbers. Let me try to show the CSE team. So SDG basically is the global goals um, that we are hoping to achieve in 2030. And let me show you the CSE team, because I think it's important to make that really clear, because you need to show that in your application. Come in. So these are the CSE team: access, inclusion, and opportunity, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship, science and technology for development, strengthening global peace. So, and there are different courses under each of these teams. You can see for system strengthening, we have different courses under it, different courses under this one, we have different courses as well. So you have to be able to show in your developmental essay how, especially the first one, the part one of the developmental essay, you have to be able to show, to tie it back to how your course, how your program actually falls under the CSE team. So we have 6 of them. And if you're applying to any of the courses, any course that we have on this list, then definitely you are going to fall under either of these 6. So is that you are under systems, strengthening systems and capacity, or you fall under access, inclusion, or opportunity, depending on the program that you're applying for. So you can see we have different courses under each of these teams. So in your part one, you have to be able to show that this course, the problem that you want to solve, actually falls under the earth system, strengthening earth system and capacity at the end of the day. So just show that, mention that, because it has to relate. That's because that's what you are trying to solve. That's the problem they are looking forward to solving by investing in you. So that means that you have to be able to show to them clearly how your course actually falls under this broad CSE team. So, but for the SDGs, let me show that as well. So SDGs are basically global goals, and we have 17 of them. So we have different areas. Let me search for some that can give us list. Um, because this is very, very important for your application. So we have 17 goals, and we have different targets under these goals as well. So they want you to show where your own interest actually falls and where the problem that you want to solve actually fall under. Because that's one of the things that is actually one of the major global targets that we are trying to achieve by 2030. So for you, it might be for no poverty. It depends on what you want to study. And for some people, for most people that are applying other health system strengthening and capacity, they are going to fall under maybe good health and well-being. And some of them will also fall under quality education. Maybe you want to improve how things are actually done in terms of you teaching other people how to do things in a better way. So it can also fall on Go 4, it can fall on Go 3, and it can also fall on, for instance, in my own case, um, my application also fall under reduce inequality. So whether from health, whether from other areas, you also want to reduce inequality. So you have to think about the problem that you want to solve. Where does it fall under? And you have to identify 3 areas in your application earlier. They will ask you which area are you mostly passionate or interested in based on what you want to study or based on the problem that you want to solve. So you have to select 3. And in your development essay, the first one, the part 1, you can easily put it in bracket that, okay, see, this particular point is going to solve this particular SDG problem. So we have 17 goals. We have goals. So, and there's no way the course that you want to study will not fall under at least three. So if it's not related directly, you can just think for a or look for one that is actually close to what you want to solve. For instance, if it is flooding, flooding can fall under Goal 11, sustainable cities and community. It can fall under climate action, Goal 13. It can also fall under life on land. For instance, you can look for if it's HIV. HIV can fall under reduce inequality. It can fall under um, good health and well-being. It can also fall under let's look for something again. Uh, Partnership. HIV can fall under partnership because for HIV to be solved, we all need to work together. So there's nothing that you want to study. There's a way you can fit in any or three out of all these goals. So even if that doesn't relate directly, but you can look for a way to make sure that okay, this actually is related to this, is linked to this, and you propose it. Let me give an example again. If you are an engineer, you are applying to a course or maybe on engineering. So where is it going to fall? It can fall on sustainable cities and community. For instance, if you have a lot of building collapsing, that cannot sustain our cities and our community. And it can also fall under what again? Maybe life on land. Maybe it can also fall under uh, decent work and economic growth. If house is collapsing and it's everywhere, it's going to affect the economy. You can link it. So there's no way any problem you want to solve, you cannot link it to any of these three goals. So far, they are under CSCO, they are under Commonwealth. There's a way you can link it. But I hope you are able to see the difference between SDGs and also the CSE team. So please, it is important that in one of your essays, at least you mention where it is connected. And I have a number of videos on my own essay, my own sample essays that you can also look at the way I actually pen that down. I made video on every aspect of this application, but I just think this live session will also be useful for us to also discuss some of these important things that will be useful in refining your essays. So please, um, these are the CSE team. Don't forget. So bear this in mind when they are writing. The reason why they want to fund you for any of this program here is because they want you to strengthen a system and contribute to capacity. Simple. So and strengthening a system can come in any way. It's too broad. You can strengthen a system by solving problem of infectious disease, by solving problem on HIV, by solving problem on AMR, by solving problem on any of these things that you have here, palliative care. You can solve problem on mental health. You can solve problem on mental global health or global mental health, clinical research. All these things can actually solve problem on under health systems and capacity. So they've thought about all these things before they do their classification. So you have to look for a way if you are applying for any of these courses to tie it back to the fact that you are contributing to this to that part of the CSE team. And you also have to nail it back to SDG that's your program, your own interest, not your program, your own interest actually falls under. For some people, it might be good health and well-being. For some people, it might be partnership for goals. It might be some people, it might be life on lands. So just look for three that is closely related to what you're interested in. So, but if you're interested in science and technology, now you can see all the courses under science and technology. So it is not good enough if you are unable to actually tie the problem that you want to solve, how the course will help you, and tie it back and mention why they actually how they contribute to the science and development or technology for development team of the CSC team. It's very, very important that you show that. Yeah, so that's just it. And please think about the global goals. They're just three. Think of three that are close to what you're interested in, and also mention it in your application. You don't need to. For me, I didn't. If you check my essay, I made a video on it already. I didn't start mentioning that. Okay, my goal actually fall under this and this and this. I just put it in bracket. Okay, I hope to actually do this and improve the capacity of holders in doing global health research. And I put in bracket maybe SDG 10, SDG something. I don't need to start explaining it. You don't have that word luxury of word count to start explaining quite a lot of things. You don't have that. You don't need to explain in details. Just put it in bracket. Okay. Maybe when you mention that, okay, you are going to improve health systems and contribute to reducing infectious disease burden in your country. In bracket, you can put SDG 3. That's fine. So just and also tie everything back again to development team where your course actually falls under. I will encourage you to watch those videos so that you can see what I'm trying to explain. Yeah. But there's no way your course will not fall under any development team because it is clearly on their website what they are funding you for. They are funding, if you're applying for any of these things, they are funding you to actually improve health system and capacity in your country. And don't there are many ways you can actually do that. And that's why they approve all these courses under uh, this health system and capacity team of CSE. I hope that is clear. So let me look at another question. So we have thank you so much. When you create an account with the school, there's an application ID regardless if you've submitted or not. Can you use it on CSC even when you have not made submission to the school? Most of the time, most schools they don't change your application ID, so they don't change it. So that means that you can also use that. For me, I remember I also have that question then, but at the end of the day, the when I started my application, it was still that same ID that was attached until I get my matriculation number. So yes, in most cases you can use that because once you open your application, you're going to have an application ID, which if you submit your application, that's what is going to that's the application ID you are submitting under. Yes, in most schools it's like that. I hope that is clear. So when applying for similar programs like global health, public health, is it advisable to use similar essays with other with only slight changes, or do we have to revamp? For me, I use similar essay. That's why I apply to similar schools and similar programs across board. So I use similar essay, but at the same time, there's some parts where you actually you need to lay emphasis on why that program is unique for you. Um, for instance, maybe they have a particular module in that particular in certain university. You have to revise that. So, but my essay is mostly similar because it's the same. There's similar program, and at the same time, the what I want to get from the program is also similar. So, but there are some areas where you have to make some touches, you have to make some changes. The application is actually independent. They will not know if you apply to Oxford and you apply to 20 other universities. Nobody will know. It's only CSC that we know, and they don't care. The only thing they care about is that if you receive 20 nominations at the end of the day, you have to reject one. You have to reject all of them and go with one. So that's what they're interested in. So they don't care about the number of applications that you have. They don't even care about the content that whether they are similar across board. No. What is important basically is you being able to tailor your application to different schools. And that depends on whether they are similar or not. Of course, you can borrow some words, you can borrow some ideas, but I know there will be some aspect of the application that you might need to change a bit uh, to suit that particular school or that particular university that you're applying for. So, but your application is independent. It's not that they will not share your application in Glasgow with Cambridge. No, they will not share your application in Birmingham with another. No, it's independent throughout. But it's important that you make sure that your application is also unique and the problem that you want to solve, you're able to build that capacity in those universities that you apply to. So it is very, very important that you focus, that you make that you consider that. In the case of your referee who doesn't have a PhD, please, it doesn't matter. Even if they are master, what is important basically is not about having a PhD, is that can they write extensively about you? Can they give good talk about you and what you have done? Didn't know you in a professional setting, maybe your lecturer at your university that doesn't have a PhD yet, or maybe someone that you work with and doesn't have a PhD, but that person can talk at length at your capacity, at what you have done, at what you have achieved. That's also fine. That's perfect. So it's not about PhD, it's not about being professor, it's not about being emeritus professor. What is important basically is how they communicate and what they say about you. So it's very, very important. They even mention it in they mention it here that see, we are not focusing on if you have someone that gave you maybe a 5 line reference, we don't want that. It's unlikely to actually make you get in. So someone that can write extensively about if a professor wrote something, okay, unless if you're a Nobel Prize winner, you just write, okay, oh, Yusuf has won a Nobel Prize. I accord him all due privilege. That's different. If you won a Nobel Prize, they can write one line recommendation letter for you and it's powerful. And that will actually get you into the program. That's different. But that person just mentioned that okay, this guy is a good boy. He's always attending classes and all. And that's just like in 5 sentences and they are done. It's not going to be sufficient. Oh. So look for someone that can comment at length in your capacity, and that should be the focus. This is dicey. Can I use abbreviation in subsequent essay? I know you want to the word limit and all. Uh, yes. Standard way of writing is to maybe spell out what you want to say at first. But this application they are also in different sections, so it should be good if you have the word count. Each time you mention each word again in different section, you can easily just explain again. For instance, if you mentioned AMR before, and you think maybe AMR will be confusing for the reviewer again, you can just mention it again in full. So if you can avoid using any form of abbreviation, if you can avoid it using that, please avoid it totally. Because I know how confusing it can be when they are reviewing your application. What is AMR? You might have mentioned it before, but that person might not be paying close attention. They have a lot of applications to review. So using too much or too many abbreviation in your application sometimes might make your application be difficult to read. I understand the standard way of writing, but if you can avoid using any form of abbreviation on your application, I think that will be fine. I think that will be fine. And in fact, if you mention something like WHO, you don't have to explain WHO the first time. Everybody know WHO in the world. So you can just say WHO. You can just say CSC team. You can just say some things that you know that, but if something is really, really technical, for instance, infectious disease, and you put ID, they will wonder what is ID. But I've mentioned it before, but they might still get confused. Remember, you are writing for a non-technical audience. So I know I have that concern there too, because I was thinking, how will I do this thing? But I later resolved to that, see, I will not use any abbreviation. I'll make sure that I explain everything each time or remove any form of acronym from my application if I afford to do that. So, but if you can't, if in that particular session you've mentioned, let's say you mentioned an organization before, you can just use an acronym, then mention it again. That same session, no. But if you mention GHF, let's say for instance, you mentioned GHF in developmental essays, and in your personal statement, you mention GHF again, they'll be wondering what is GHF. They'll be wondering what this person's saying. So because that two parts of the application, they are far apart. I'm not sure whether you get what I'm trying to say. They are far apart. So sometimes they might miss it out. What is GHF? I know they are reviewing many applications. They won't start going back and start saying, okay, what is GHF? What is this? What is that? No. Just please, if it is possible for you to spell them out, it is okay. But if you want to use acronyms or you want to use abbreviation, use it in that same session. For instance, if you define AMR before, you can put AMR, then start using AMR in that particular session. But don't mention AMR and believe that all your application AMR is enough. By using AMR throughout is enough. Sometimes it might not be. Please take care on that. But if you can avoid using a short format throughout your application, avoid it. But there's some abbreviation that there's some short form that you don't really need to spell out, like WHO. Everyone knows UNICEF. Everyone knows UNICEF, and they are long, so you don't want to waste the word count that you have. Um, Yeah, thank you very much, you today for mentioning that. Yes, SDG are United Nations goals. We hope to achieve most of these goals by 2030. And in fact, most countries are not on track. That's also another point. Most countries are not on track to achieve, especially most countries in most low and middle income countries, we are not on track at all to achieve most of the goals. So that can be a strong point of argument. That see, um, In fact, this particular goal have been set out maybe in the SDGs, and we have not been able to make remarkable um, progress towards achieving this particular goal. I hope to actually solve this problem. So that's also another important point that you can put in your application. So CSC teams, yes, there are 6 in number. Please don't forget. And of course, your course is going to fall under one of them. Yeah, Glasgow AMR course isn't covered. Yeah, so you can look at look for other program that will actually cover that. Thank you for that, Zainab. Can you apply for 2 courses in one school? Of course, yes, you can. So far, both of them are present in the Commonwealth shared application. The two schools, they are present there, and also you can apply to the school as well. Yeah, there's no problem with that. Can we upload reference letters? Can we upload reference letters sent to us by at this point? At this point, you don't need any reference letter for your application. The only thing that you need is for you to put their name, their email address, and I think the institution, and that's all. So when you are nominated next year, they will reach out to you. When you receive your nomination, they reach out to you to ask you to tell your recommenders to upload their recommendation letter next year after nomination. There's a Please, do you mean the application ID of the school I applied to is what I will put using during the CSC application process? There is an aspect of the application that mentions something like application ID. You have a CSC application ID. You're also going to have a portion where they mention that put the application ID of the school that you applied to or something like that. I can't remember, but there's a portion of that of your CSC application, your Commonwealth Shared Scholarship application, where they mention that. So if you've applied already, you should have an application ID. For instance, if you apply to Oxford, you would have submitted the application. And if you apply to Cambridge, right now you should have your application ID with you, because when you submit your application, they send you an email, or you see somewhere in your application or somewhere when you submit your application that this is your application ID. So on your CSE application, you also have to there's a portion or there's a place where you have to put your application ID there, but it's not compulsory if you don't have it. But if you have it, you are making their work a lot more easier for them to link your application and see this person has applied to the university and also applied to the CSE. So there's an aspect of the application where they want you to lay emphasis, or where they want you to mention, not lay emphasis, where they want you to mention your application ID to the university. And Molly just asked that when you start your application for some schools, they already assign you an application ID. Can you use that? In most cases, yes, because that's the application ID that you're going to have when you submit your application at the end of the day. In most cases, in my own personal experience, it doesn't change. So you can easily use that again. But if you are confused and you're unsure at all, just leave it empty. That's why they put it if it's available or if it's applicable or something like that there. So, but at the end of the day, what is important that you apply to the school and you also apply to the Commonwealth. You applied for the program under Commonwealth Shared. I hope that is clear. Please, if it's not clear, ask your question. No. Um, I've received unconditional admission offer in my school of choice. Is it necessary to mention that in my essay? Um, does it really hard weight? If you've received offer, yeah, you can mention that briefly. If that's going, you can mention that briefly that you've already received an offer and you look for just don't let us know that it's not because it's not important. It's not that important, but they mention it in one of the indicators that if you had offer, maybe it's a secondary indicator of you being successful in your application. But don't dwell on that. You can just use that to maybe wrap up a sentence that see, I'm interested in this particular program because I look forward to building this capacity, blah, 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 and all. And unfortunately, I've also received an offer to study in this university to build my capacity in this particular area. You see, so you know that you're just mentioning that you receive offer. Yeah, that's good, but don't waste too much words on that. You can just mention how that shows that you're really committed. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really add too much weight because by the time they're going to do the nomination, most applicant, they will already have offer, or maybe yeah, back, maybe have rejection from the university or something. By that time, they will do the nomination. And for instance, let me give a practical example. By January, you should all, if you apply to Oxford and Cambridge, you apply to some schools in the UK, you have your maybe your interview in January, whether you have been accepted or rejected. And the thing is that once the application to the school for admission has been rejected, automatically the scholarship application has been rejected. Like they've rejected the application automatically. Like it's just automatic. Because when they are reviewing your application for when they are doing the nomination, they will also consider whether you have offer already. That's why they are going to wait until maybe like March for all the schools to actually send offer to their students and for them to know their place and whether they are in coordination. They actually know what they are doing. They work together. So don't worry too much. So if you've not had any offer, if you don't have any offer from any school right now, it doesn't really stop anything because by January, by February, you will already know whether you have offer. But what if your application to the university has been rejected? Like if they rejected your application, then what that means basically is that you are no longer a candidate for Commonwealth Shared. So yeah, so admission to the school is also very, very important because you cannot use the Commonwealth Share Scholarship if you don't have offer from the school. But don't worry if you are applying now. By the time that we do the nomination, you will already know your status, whether you have offer or not. Yeah. So, but to cap it all, you can mention it in your application that see, I already have offer, but don't waste too much words on that because it's not. But just use it to demonstrate how uh you are a perfect fit for that course. But it doesn't. If you don't have any offer, please don't worry. Don't um because it's not important. I don't have any offer when I apply. I got all my offers in January, in February, to different schools that I applied to. Is the application number necessary? Generally, it's not necessary. If you don't have the application number, it's not necessary. But for some people that they've submitted their application right now, or they're going to submit later, most schools will assign you an application ID. Like once you open your application, you will see there maybe your application ID is this, which in most cases it doesn't change. So you can use that application ID on your CSE on the CSE platform. That's your application ID, even if you don't submit your application. But if possible, please submit your application before um, yeah, before you apply. But if it is not, it's also not a problem. What is important is that just leave it empty. They are going to link it later. They work together, so they understand how they will link all the applications together at the end of the day. So it's not a problem at all. Yeah. Could you recommend certain schools with no application fee or application fee waiver? Yeah, please, if anyone on this live, if you know any program or any school with application waiver, I want to raise it before because people have been asking me. If you've done your research or you've applied already and you know of any, please kindly let us know. But I know the only place I know is University of Glasgow. University of Glasgow, they don't charge application fee. Um, yeah, that's the only school I know for this round. So, but if anyone, if you want to share, if you know of any school that can grant people waiver at this point for application to the university, please kindly comment so that other people can benefit from your own experience. Please, how important are publication for the scholarship? Really, if your publication is a strength to your application, but other people have other way they can show their own strength. For instance, some people they can show that uh, even if they don't have any publication, no, but they understand the problem that they want to solve. They write a very good development essay that is so clear, and of course, they are able to communicate how the course, how the program, how the Commonwealth Share Scholarship is going to help their career and also help them to make impact in their country, in their community. Yeah, that's what is important. That some people that might be their own strength. But if you have publication, of course, publication is not a bad thing. If you have it, if you have them, if you have publications, it's going to actually hard to for your application to be reviewed favorably. But remember, it's under a secondary indicator for academic merit. So it's not a primary indicator of academic merit. Your good grade, finishing with first class, finishing with strong 2-1, or demonstrating order in other aspects of your application that see I'm worthy of investment. I've built quite a lot of capacity. I've won this number of awards. I can show other things. Then that's fine. So it's about balancing things up. It's not just about one aspect of your application. I know people that don't have any publication and they receive this award. But if your publication is a very good plus to your academic merit. So again, if you have any question, please do let me know. Um, this application can be sometimes really interesting, but please, I really hope I've been able to cover most aspects and key things that you need to focus on. And you can go back to your application and read it for the last time uh, to see how much what you have written actually aligns with your own thinking. Because when you're applying to any scholarship or any funding, you have to be able to demonstrate how your own vision actually aligns with what they really want to do or what they want to achieve. Remember, they have different CSC team. They are also interested in SDGs. So they also want you to make impact in your own home country. Are you able to show that clearly? Are you able to demonstrate where you volunteer? Are you able to show your leadership experience carefully? Not just saying you lead a project. What is the impact? What do you do? What's your own contribution? What is the outcome? So you have to be able to show that. So Commonwealth application is really, really interesting because it's quite a lot, but at the same time, is I think is even easy to write because you already have a template or pattern of what you should be looking out for. So please just try to reflect and review each aspect of your application, and I hope um, everything will be okay. So another question is: does it mean that most schools require application fee when applying? Yes, so people have already paid application fee, but people that have submitted to some schools that their application closed 3rd of December. Some people got waiver, some people yeah. So please check the school that you're applying to is already a bit closed now. But that doesn't mean that you cannot still check. So we have about is it 4 days to deadline now. You don't have to, even if you submit your Commonwealth application. This let me also make this clear for people that want to start applying now. If you've not submitted your application to the university, please go ahead and submit your Commonwealth shared application, your scholarship application. Submit it. Why maybe before December ending or before the deadline in your school, submit the application to for admission to the program as well. They will link it. Don't worry. So it's not a must that you submit your application right now. I mean, your school application. You can wait, but the earlier the better because no, they also have to review. So once you submit your Commonwealth shared application, make sure that you meet the university deadline. But some schools don't have deadline. Some schools don't even have deadline until like April for admission. But remember, you have a target. So don't wait and say, oh, okay, because there's no deadline in this school, then I will have to wait till April next year. They will have done they will have carried out the nomination of successful applicants. So, and they will be wondering why don't you apply to the university? I know some people that made that mistake. They just applied to Commonwealth and they didn't apply to the university. How will they link your application? So, but some schools again, they said, don't worry, just apply to. I know that for Southampton. I don't know for this year. I'm just trying to give you examples of instances. I don't know of Southampton. Like I don't know of Southampton this round. But when I applied to Southampton, they asked us not to apply to the university. That we should just apply to Commonwealth. So I did that. I applied to just Commonwealth. And when I got nominated, they now asked me to submit my application. Simple. So, but generally, please check what are the requirements. But most of the time, they want you to submit an application to that school, and once you submit your application, if you submit your application to the university before the deadline for the Commonwealth, you can put your application ID there. For people that have submitted to Oxford and Cambridge, you already have application ID. So put it there in your application now. That see, this is my application ID because it will be easy for them to link. But if you've not submitted your application to the university yet, but you want to submit your Commonwealth shared application by by like next in the next 4 days, you want to submit your application, make sure that you follow through. Maybe in the following week, you already submit your application to the university too. So they will look for a way to link everything at the end of the day. So you don't have to do it concurrently. Please, if you have any question on that, please kindly ask so that I can clarify more. Uh, should prices only be academic? No. If you've won grants before, if you've won scholarship, if you've won undergraduate scholarship, maybe you've won all these total Chevron scholarship. Yeah, you can also put that as well. Any award at or any prizes that you've won that can stand out on your profile, you can always put that. But don't put what is this award? Don't put the award like okay, the best dressed female. Don't put that oh. Don't put best dressed female or or hourglass. Don't put those kind of thing in your application. So put something that is professional, that is academic in nature. Maybe, for instance, if you've won an award for the most dedicated, or maybe most some other kind of award, they also make sense. So you can put any award or any prize there, but don't put things that are not professional. Like okay, best dressed female. It's not relevant to your application. This kind of application. So yeah. So any other award, it doesn't have to be academic prize like you're the best graduate student or you've won this. No. But if you have those things to please add, put everything. But don't put things that are irrelevant to your professional standing or your professional outlook. Yes, travel scholarships can't. Please put the conference, put the award. If you know the total amount that is spent, if you can give an estimate of total amount that is spent to fund you to attend, put them there. So yeah, that also counts. If you want travel award, travel scholarship to attend a conference, you can mention the conference name, where you attend, the country. Yeah, those are the things. You see, there's no fixed way to do all these things. So just look for a way to shine through based on what you've achieved and your experiences, things that make you stand out. Yes, you can mention that. You can mention your travel scholarships, but mention the name of the conference. Mention maybe the theme or the topic of the conference, where you attend it from one time to one time, and also maybe the amount of the award. Yeah, you can mention something like that. I hope it's not too late to submit application by December ending or January. For most schools in the UK, they like for instance for schools like Cambridge and Oxford, they have what is called funding deadline. So what is important for funding deadline basically is that you've submitted your application to to the university before the funding deadline. So if you've submitted your application to Cambridge or Oxford by the 3rd of December, like last week, if you already submitted your application, you are free to submit your admission. You are free to submit your Commonwealth application anytime. But for some schools, they don't have any funding deadline. So they are just open throughout maybe till next year or something. You don't have any deadline that you have to meet for you to be able to receive any funding or any scholarship. What is important right now is for people that have applied to maybe like Oxford or Cambridge, they meet the deadline for Commonwealth. That's what is important. But if in your own case, you've not applied to the university, but you want to submit the application to the Commonwealth Shared first, that's also fine. But please don't delay it too much. The reason is that for most schools, you even hear back within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Some people will hear back from their from for Cambridge. I know some people that heard back from Cambridge in that December. They submitted the application in 3rd of December, and they got email for interview. That's December. So you don't have to delay. Once you submit your Commonwealth application, please make sure that you submit the application for the admission as soon as possible. If your school permit, you know they will still review it. And some schools it can take them 3 weeks. But I can assure you, most nominations actually take place in March. So you have enough time. But please get it in as soon as possible, so that they will link your application and everything will be set for review. So if you've not submitted your application to the university and you want to submit your Commonwealth application first, please do that. But if possible, before the end of this, or even the following week, try to submit your application. Or before the end of this month, submit your admission application to the university. It's important. Please, there was a part you mentioned while explaining the development impact essays. You advised that we leverage on our strength. Please, how do you mean? um, yeah, what I'm trying to say is for development essay really is not an opportunity to flex too much about your strength, but your strength again is clarity of what you want to do, the impact that you want to make, the problem that you want to solve, and at the same time, you're able to communicate it clearly and logically. For the development essay, one like for essay part one, part two, part three, part four, you can see that most part of this application is basically about what you want to do, about the impact that you want to make. So one of the strengths of the application might be that you're able to show clearly what you want to do, the problem that you want to solve, and the skills that you're going to learn from that program and the impact that you want to make in your community. So that's a strength. And you can weave in maybe some in some of these aspects, you can weave in something that you've done in the past. For instance, for this proposed school, the problem that you want to solve, the part one, you can, if you have been doing something in that area before, you can mention it briefly that you have been doing something in this area and you hope to actually build more capacity to solve this problem in a greater or at a greater platform or in to extend the impact to more communities in your country. So that's a strength because you're able to show clearly what you've done, and at the same time, you're able to show that, see, I know what I want to do, I know the impact I want to make, and I know exactly how this program is going to help me. So this development impact essay is basically about the impact that you want to make. So don't bother too much about things that are not necessary. So your strength in this case is you being clear on what you want to do, the problem that you want to solve. And if you've done anything, look for a way to weave those things in. Describe how you intend to apply your new skills once the scholarship ends. For instance, in this case, you can talk about things that you've done before. Maybe you have been doing some things before and you believe that this program is going to help you more to refine your skills so that you can contribute to capacity building of others and also improve your own work. Yeah, so for instance, it might be special that okay, you have an organization before now. If you go back, the skills and knowledge is going to improve the work that you do. You're going to make more impact. In that case, you're able to show clearly the impact that you want to make, and you're also able to weave in your own interest, your own strength, and what you have been doing in that area. So it's just about looking for a way to stand out. So outline the changes you expect in your development time following the scholarship. Maybe you have been doing something in that area before. How is it going to improve what you have been doing? How is it going to help what you have been doing? How is it going to the skills and knowledge? How is it going to improve or make more impact in your community or your country? How is it that you're going to teach more people or train more people based on what you have been doing before? You learn new skills and you make additional impact. So that's your own strength. So if you have been doing something before, that's a strength. If you're able to communicate clearly the problem that you want to solve and you're able to show why it is important, it's also a strength. So strength can come in different ways, but clarity is also very, very important when you are describing any aspect or any part of your Commonwealth application. So development impact is basically about the impact that you want to make. If we invest in you, what are you going to pour out for us? Which impact are you going to make? And that's what they want to see. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, everyone. So, what happens if an essay exceed word limit? I don't know if anyone has tried to do that, but I think it will not. Your application will not submit. I think it will not proceed to submission if you exceed the word limit, or it's going to put something like red. I don't know. I can't remember again. But don't try to. That's why they put word limit. Don't try to. And don't go far below. They also mention it that some people they will just okay, you wanted to go straight to the point, right? They just write two sentences. Okay, I want to solve the problem of AMR in my country because AMR is going to kill a lot of people in 2030 or 2050. Full stop. That is going to cause problem. That's not a good way of writing application. They also want you to use your word count to a significant level, but don't go overboard. Don't make your application too concise that they ask you to write something of 500 words and you're writing 100 words. That's not good enough. You have to make sure that you don't go overboard. And at the same time, you are able to maximize the word limit within what is available to you. Please don't try to go above the word limit. Wow. Esther said it's going to cut out the part that exceed the word count. Wow. So at the word limit you're writing, they say we just stop. Please don't do that. And also another thing that I noticed is that please make sure that you format your essay properly. Because if you know you're going to type, you're going to copy and paste into that, please try to space. Maybe you have paragraphs or two paragraphs or something. Try to space it really well. Uh, so that because I noticed that when I applied, before I submit my application, when I check the draft, I noticed that some of the words are not really aligned very well. Please make sure that the outlook is looking really well, so that everything will not look somehow that it will be so difficult for them to see or to understand different paragraphs and what you are trying to put in each box. So please don't exceed the word count because you cannot even do that. They've already programmed the application portal to be like that. So please, do you have any other question or you need any clarification? If you've not submitted your application to the university, please immediately you submit your application to Commonwealth. Please try to do that as soon as possible, so that they can review it all at once and give you feedback by January, so that you will know whether you have offer or not, or whether you are still expecting Commonwealth shared scholarship, because the application to the university actually is important, and also getting offer in the university is also very, very important, because if you don't have offer, you can't take up your space in the university. Automatically, if someone receive rejection from the admission board, they automatically they will remove your application for Commonwealth. Yeah. So, but if you have not applied, please do it before the end of the year, so that you can hear back. For most schools, they take like 3 weeks, or some 2 weeks, or some 1 month to give you feedback. But for people that have submitted their application, please don't forget to put your application ID in the right place, so that they can easily link your application. But if you have submitted after you've submitted your CSC application, that's also fine. It's not a problem. They will look for a way to link it. But don't delay too much. Don't submit your application in April, because by that time they will have carried out the nomination and they won't see your application. They will think you are not interested again. Yeah. So please remember, when you read the application again, be sure that you're not focusing on yourself too much. It's very, very important. Be sure that you're not focusing on yourself too much. Be sure that you're able to show clearly the impact that you want to make, how you want to improve your community, how you want to improve your country, or it may be in anything, just that you are making impact in your country. That's what is important to them. And it's not just about you alone. And you're able to show the cause, why it is important to you, how it's going to contribute to your capacity building. It's very, very important to be specific and be clear on that. Yeah, so that's basically it. And I hope this is going to give you an additional insight on what they are looking out for and how they want you to structure and prepare your application. So I wish you all the best. I hope this session is able to give you some additional clarity on the important thing. I know all these are actually available, but most of the time it's possible that we miss out on seeing them. So I hope this is actually very, very helpful to give you additional insight, to help you to go back and look at your application and see whether you are be able to show this thing in clearly, in greater details, and of course, um, yeah, it's competitive enough to land you the scholarship. And please look out for other funding, other scholarship as well. It's very, very important that you don't rely only on Commonwealth, and if possible, apply to many schools, as many as you can, as many as you have the ability, as many as you have the means to do that. Please apply and look for other funding. Erasmus is open. Look for there's a Swedish scholarship for global professional that is also open. There are a lot of funding elsewhere. Please look at them as well and diversify the way they will say diversify your portfolio, so that you can have you can be picky. So you can start sending email to them. They say that, see, I don't want to go to your university. I already got offer. I already had offer in one particular university. So you are the one that will start rejecting offer. So just try to diversify. I know these things are very, very competitive, and sometimes it can be really difficult for us to keep up. But we all know why we are doing this. We want to build our capacity. We want to improve our knowledge and skills to be able to make additional or more impact in what we have been doing before. That's why we are doing all these things. So, but please try as much as possible to diversify, look for more funding opportunity, and continue to apply to them. Yeah. So, and if you need additional insight, I also made videos on my own sample essay. It might not be the best in the world, but at least you can. I try as much as possible to follow what they actually state out, to write my own essay, and of course, I got nominated in 4 universities, and I chose Oxford at the end of the day. So, what is important basically is be original. If you are using AI again, please try as much as possible not to review it critically again, so that you'll not be hallucinating and be saying something that doesn't really add anything to each sentence, each line, each point must earn their place in your application. It's important. They must end, like, don't put things that are not necessary. There's some word that that you yourself know that, what's this thing even adding? It's not adding anything to my application. Please remove those kind of things. Everything must end their place strongly in your application. That, okay, this is why I'm adding this particular sentence. This is why I'm adding this particular point, so that I can be able to justify further. I can be able to make more explanation on my interest and the impact I want to make. Remember again, this scholarship, the whole essence of this scholarship is for you to develop or make impact in your country. So if they read your application, they don't have to think twice on how you are excited to solve that problem in your country. Please go back again and read your essay for the last time, and be be conscious. And also, you can watch the videos on the essay that I've made, my own personal my own essay, to look at it as well. And also, you are free to also make comparison and use it to tap one or two things from that and use it to also improve your essays. Yeah. So I wish you all the best, and thank you very much for attending. Yeah, I'm going to upload the video. It's going to be available on my channel. So just when you open uh the channel, you're going to see the live session. Just click on the live session. It's going to show there automatically as we end when we end this session. So I wish you all the best, and please apply to more programs. Things are getting really competitive, as you all know. So even if you have rejection at the end of the day, most of the time it's not about you. You know it is more than that. So, but just try your best and see what happens at the end of the day. Uh, Good luck to everyone, and I hope to hear good news from you guys in the next few months. Um, I wish you all the best. Take care, and if you have any other question, please do let me know before we end the session. Yeah, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe. Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone. So let's just call it a day, and I wish you all the best. So if you have any question, you can also drop it on this live video, and I'm also happy to give you additional insights. Good luck, and bye everyone.